Play of the game.
Yo, I completely forgot the live stream was happening. So, here's a last-minute Xilonen guide. If you're here catching up from the beta, Xilonen is exactly the same. Nothing has changed about this character. She's the same as day one. Everything is identical. The end.
Oh yeah, one more thing.
No, we need to talk about the only character whose weapon is named after a children's cartoon. We need to talk about Peak Patrol, Xilonen. So Xilonen is a Geo support character. Now, what do I mean when I say Geo support? Do I mean like she's another Geo support, like Chiori? No. Xilonen is a Geo Kazuha. However, she does not group. What Xilonen does instead is she's a healer, and her resistance shred works in multi-wave. Cinema. The gimmick for her kit is interacting with her source samples. So the way that source samples work is she technically always has them generated in the background. When you use her elemental skill, the element of the source samples affects the way it works. Now, quickly to TLDR this, the way source samples work is she gets a pyro crystal for a pyro character. She gets a hydro crystal for a hydro character, an electro crystal for an electro character, a cryo crystal for a cryo character, a geo crystal for a geo character, a geo crystal for an animo character, and a geo crystal for a dendro character, which is why we're calling it FEC. Pyro, Hydro, Electro, Cryo. FEC. This does double count, by the way, so if there are 2 Hydro and an Animo, it is 2 Hydro and a Geo for her source samples. So if Xilonen has 2 non-Geo source samples, when she uses her elemental skill, she will generate Night Soul points. Her Night Soul meter will be full after 2 normal attacks, so it is E and 2. After you do E and 2 on Xilonen, she will provide a resistance shred off field for 15 seconds for the elements she has recorded source samples of. So in the example case, it is Hydro and Geo. If your team was 2 Hydro and a Pyro, it would be just for Hydro and Pyro. So basically, Xilonen says feck Geo characters, feck Animo characters, and feck Dendro characters. I'm not helping them. She only DJs for feck. Breaking it down. Xilonen's burst also works in a very similar way. When she has 2 feck samples, her burst is healing. It is a single target heal for 12 seconds. Pretty good. When she does not have 2 feck, it just does damage. Basically, it's shit. Anyway, if you don't have 2 feck characters in your team, Xilonen is an on-field DPS. You can do an insane 500k damage per rotation. Okay, so basically Xilonen isn't a DPS at all. She's only a support. Never play her outside of a 2 feck team unless you're pulling C2. Like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna try to do more Zenless content. More Genshin content is coming. Did you know most of you watching are not currently subscribed? You should subscribe. Energy recharge plus talent priority or top priority is really simple. Her resistance shred scales with her E-skill talent, so you need to level it. Crown it immediately. Xilonen's elemental burst doesn't do anything besides heal. Level it if you want more healing. While she technically has a very cheap ER rec of something as low as 130 or 140, her best 4-star weapon option is Favonius, just because there's nothing else to use. And Favonius is Favonius. It's amazing. The best 4-star weapons in the game. We love Favonius Sword. But yeah, there's literally nothing better to use. Building more def doesn't even do anything. It just makes her heal more. Her buff doesn't scale with her def. She has a 5-star weapon. It's called the Paw Patrol song. What do you mean, Paw Patrol? Sir, it's called Peak Patrol. Yeah, I know. Anyway, the Paw Patrol song gives up to 25 damage bonus scaling with Xilonen's def. You need 3,200 def to max this out. It's really easy. You get some def subs, you run at least 2 def main stats, you're good. The other option is Freedom Sworn. The disclaimer with Freedom Sworn is you have to generate 2 crystals. Because Crystallize has a global ICD, you cannot EN2 to get the benefit from Freedom Sworn. You have to use her Elemental Burst. Normally, whatever, you're going to use her Elemental Burst anyway. If you're a speedrunner, this is a big problem. In that case, you got to use Paw Patrol. Oh well. The rest of us will be very happy with Freedom Sworn. It's directly comparable to her 5-star weapon option. if the character scales with attack and does normal attack damage. Normal, charge, or plunge attack damage. And yeah, I already mentioned it. 4-star weapon, Vonia sword. Just use Fat Man. Artifacts, there is one set. I'm telling you, one. It's called Scroll of the Hero of the Ember City. Cinder City? They renamed it. Ugh. Scroll of the Hero of the Cindered City. The set name that is also a full sentence. Unless there is another scroll user in the team, this is the only set you'd use. Hint, hint. Xilonen could end up on the bench if there is a Pyro Scroll off-field DPS character. I don't know. In that case, you would use Archaic Petra on Xilonen, but she is still a healer, so cool. Let's talk about teams. How do I put this really bluntly? While Xilonen is directly comparable with Kazuha in essentially most teams, there's really only one team where she's increasing or she's raising the ceiling. Everyone, I'd like you to meet Neuvillette. Xilonen is a Neuvillette support. I'm sorry, it's true. Neuvillette, Furina, Kazuha. If you're feeling nasty, you can replace Kazuha with Xianling. Yep. Cool stuff. Very necessary buff. I'm surprised they didn't nerf the interaction here. Nope, completely unchanged, so it's intentional. Xilonen is a Neuvillette support. You can play her with any effect DPS, so someone like Arlecchino or Risley or Clorand or Linny, you can definitely do that. There is one Geo DPS you can play with her, technically two if you count Ningguang. It is Navia. So you're gonna play Navia, Bennett, Xilonen, and another Feck character, because that is a 2-Feck team. So Xianling, Furina, or Fischl. Xilonen will be an upgrade over Zhongli here. Granted, her shred is 15 seconds instead of 20 seconds, but it's not a big deal. Cool stuff. Because Xilonen is a Natlin character, I also wanted to point out Mualani because of the interaction with Night Soul Burst. So you're getting bonus damage on Mualani's Elemental Burst and regenerating additional energy for Xilonen if you play Mualani with Xilonen instead of Kazuha with Mualani. So the team will look like this. It will be Mualani with Xianling, Xilonen, and then another Hydro character of your choice, which will be either Candace, Furina, or Yelan, depending on what your goals are and how much damage you need to do. I'm sorry, but that is essentially the Mualani team. That's what you play. One other character that I want to mention personally, you can play Xilonen with Hu Tao, Furina, Yelan because Xilonen is a healer. This makes Xilonen directly comparable to Xianyun and Bennett in this slot, which is great. More options is always good. You will not get a Pyro Crystal, but you will get a Hydro Crystal, so you are getting the 40 damage bonus for Hydro, not Pyro, but you are res shredding for Pyro. And because Xilonen is a healer, it's just another option. It makes the team run. You also get multi-wave resistance shred, which is a big advantage over Kazuha and Xianyun, and there is no circle, so it's an advantage over Bennett. DPS wise, it is as good as Xianyun, but you don't have to plunge, so it's better. Sorry, plunging sucks. But primarily, yeah, the major options are Neuvillette and Navia. Well, I want to circle back to that because I do think it's important. You can play her with anyone, and she can be directly comparable to Kazuha. The advantage is that she shreds in multi-wave. So if your character is locked into field time, you don't have to worry about leaving the field to re-up your buffs. Xilonen's got your back. But the characters that she's really raising the ceiling for is Neuvillette and Navia. Specifically Neuvillette. We're also going to quickly talk about Constellations. Xilonen C1 is an overworld taxi constellation. Also, you get extra interruption resistance for your on-fielder, which is pretty comfortable, but it doesn't do anything damage-wise. Xilonen's C2 ends up being roughly a 15% increase for teams. It is 50 damage bonus for Geo, 45 attack for Pyro, 45 HP for Hydro, 60 crit damage for Cryo characters, and some energy for Electric characters, and a cooldown reduction. There's some cool stuff with this. It's like a 15% damage increase in teams. The problem with this is it's a C2, not a C1. But if you're willing to go for it, if you're pulling C1 anyway for the overworld taxi, it's a good constellation. C3 increases her res shred. C4 is damage. C5 is her burst, so it doesn't do anything. And C6 basically doesn't do anything either. Whew. Those are her constellations. That's Xilonen. Very good character. If you want more in-depth thoughts, check out the first impression, the day one TC results, but she's a very good character. She's a very good character. She's very good support. She's an multi-wave alternative to Kazuha. She is better than Kazuha in multi-wave, but if you are not looking at multi-wave situations, she is the same as Kazuha. I think being better in multi-wave is enough of a benefit for me to say, yeah, Xilonen is incredible. Also, she's a healer. Very necessary. This video is sponsored by Tactor. Check out Tactor.com. Tactor is a video game forum. It's very similar to Reddit. Anyone can post, and it also has tools for making guides. If you want to do similar content to me, you can check out my guides on Tactor, and you can make your own and add to the conversation. Check out Tactor.